Hey everyone, welcome to Just Get It In. This is a targeted practice on the lower back from a point of releasing that kind of lower back tightness and stiffness. So yeah, hopefully you'll feel better after these postures in this short sequence. But if you were to commit to this on a little and often approach, that should mitigate a lot of the reasons, hopefully, on why you're feeling the way you do most days in your lower back. Okay, so feel free to lie on your back. Knees bent, feet flat to the floor. Bring the legs together. Take the right thigh up on top of the left thigh. Move the bum a few inches to the right. Pivot the left foot on the left heel. Bring the legs slowly across to the left. Right arm, reach it out to the right. Maybe turn the head a little to the right. Good. With that left hand, you can just cut the outside of your right thigh. And then just take 2 or 3 steady breaths through the nose. If you need to use your mouth, use your mouth. You're not trying to get your legs to the floor, and if your right arm and shoulder has to be slightly off the floor, so be it. Good, just 1 or 2 more moments there. Good. Maybe use that left hand to bring the legs back to the middle and then release your top leg. Shift the bum back to the middle. Bring the legs together, left thigh up on top of the right thigh so there's no space between your upper legs. Move the bum a little bit to the left. Pivot the right foot on the right heel. Slowly ease those legs across to the right. Left arm out to the left. Head slightly left of center. Right hand just cups the outside of that left thigh. And then just 3 or 4 breaths, all right? Steady breathing. Be easeful and mindful with where you're positioning your body in space. Like with any of these postures, they are all suggestions. Maybe they all don't meet everybody where they're at with their body. So if you get sharp pain or significant discomfort, that would be a sign not to do this posture. Good, but be mindful of the difference between tightness and pain. Breathe out, come all the way back to the center. Release the top leg, shift the bum back to the middle. Take the right leg up into the air. And then just interlace your fingers around the belly of your hamstrings, around the middle of your right hamstrings. And flex your foot so you're drawing your foot downwards and maybe even spreading your toes. With your right thigh, try and push forwards with your arms bend. So simultaneously there is a push forwards with the leg and there is a pull back with the arms. And you can feel those hamstrings stretched out, but then trying to contract and work at that more end lengthened position. Good. Breathe out, slowly release that. Good. Just as that right foot comes to the floor, lift the bum, just recenter the pelvis. Take the left leg up, flex the foot, even spread the toes a little bit apart. Both hands catch around the back of those left hamstrings. Good. The left thigh pushes forwards, or rather than just pull the hands back into the leg, just bend the elbows. Good. And then as you are working, as you stretch, take 2 or 3 breaths. Good. As you breathe out, slowly release that. Both feet flat to the floor, legs are bent. Make sure the feet are a little bit ahead of the line of the knees. Now with your fingers, just come to the front of your hip points. Just tap the front hip points that are on the front of the pelvis, the bony bits you can feel. Now you can keep your hands there to bring attention to this side of the body. With the right hip, try and slide it in the direction of the right foot. And then left hip, slide it in the direction of the left foot. Right hip or right front hip point towards the right foot. Left hip, left front hip point towards the left foot. As you do this, you will feel a swaying of your pelvis. just mobilizing that lower back region. Now you can be as free and as smooth and whatever pace you want to go at. So if you're really tight and really stiff and just getting used to the movements, maybe you're not going super slow. But if you've done this countless times, then maybe you're just easing into it and just picking up the pace. You're kind of mirroring what the pelvis should do in an effective walking style, where you walk from your pelvis first, not from your legs. Good. And then slowly release that. Draw the knees into the chest. Rock and roll yourself up into a tabletop. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. So upper legs and arms vertical. Then I want you to go onto your fingertips. So you raise the shoulders up, you raise the chest and head up. Now bring your attention back to those front hip points and draw them up towards the belly. So you round your lower back. And then try and take those front hip points down towards the knees. So you stick your bum up and back. Front hip points up towards the belly and down towards the knees. Now, all I want you to do is isolate the movement and rocking of the pelvis and the changing the position of the lower back. I'm not bothered about you going into full cat-cow if that means anything to you. So just keep moving those hip points up and down. And you will, as you move your pelvis, the pelvis initiates the movement to the lower back into flexion and extension. And again, you're mobilizing your lumbar region. So just do this a few times. You can always have your hands on something elevated if it's difficult to pop the hands onto the fingertips for whatever reason. Good. And then slowly release that. Come down into Sphinx with the hands together. So slide the legs back, lower the front of the legs down, front of the hips. Lift the chest a little bit. The elbows are under the shoulders. And then same kind of thing as a little bit you did on your back a moment ago. Press the left hip down into the floor, then press the right hip down into the floor. Left hip down, right hip down. And you're getting that swaying. But this time you are doing it in a different position of your lower back and your thoracic. So you're just doing the same movements, but you're changing the starting position to which you do them from. Good. And again, that should feel nice and easy. If that's a little bit uncomfortable in the lower back, you can just drop the head and chest a bit. Like I've done a lot of sitting yesterday. I was on a plane. And yeah, I'm tight in the lower back this morning. So like there is nothing wrong with my body. It is okay to have stiffness and tightness, but do something about it and this should help. Good. Pop the forearms down onto the floor. Take one hand on top of the other. Take the chin, rest it on the top hand, and then just curl the head and chest up. You don't have to look up to the ceiling, but look a little bit up. And then take the chin down to that top hand. And again, curl the head and chest up. And then all the way down. Just do this 3 or 4 times. You can breathe in and lift up. Breathe out and go down. Breathe in, you're lifting up. You may be looking up a bit. Breathe out and down. Good. Last one. Good. Come all the way down. Place the chin down again onto the top hand. And then tuck your toes under. And then just lift up the left foot and then the left thigh a bit. So you're just bringing tension into your hamstrings and your glutes on that left side. And slowly down, release the top of the left foot to the floor. Lift the right foot up a bit, then lift the right thigh up a bit. Try not to lift that front right hip point too much up. Good. Pause there, take a breath. Slowly down. And then we're going to pin the chin to that top hand. We're going to lift the forearms up, the head and chest up. Lift the legs a bit. Flex the feet and drive the heels back a bit. So you can feel that tension through the lower back. And then slowly release that. Come back into tabletop. Step the right foot forwards between the hands. Just shift the hips back. Line up your left hip above your left knee. Curl the front of your hip points up. Firm your left glutes so they're really switched on. And press that left lower leg, that left foot into the floor. And then just guide the front of the left hip forwards a bit and back. Forwards and back. Keep your left glute switched on. Keep your left foot or shin pressing firmly into the floor. So just a few repetitions in this kind of dynamic low lunge. Dynamic being the opposite of static. You are moving with control from one point to the other and back again. You breathe as you breathe. Good. And then, however you want to do it, switch the legs. Step back, step forwards. Bring the bum back, curl the front of those hip points up towards the belly, switch your right glutes on, press down with your right lower leg, and again, bring that right hip forwards and backwards. You breathe as you breathe. I would rather at this point you work harder creating tension by pressing the foot and switching on the glute than just being passive and relaxing, just swaying those hips backwards and forwards. Really feel into the front of your right hip and right quads, okay? Slowly release that. Come back to lying back on the floor. Legs bent, feet flat to the floor. Feet again, not towards the bum. You shift them forwards ahead of the line of the knees. Those front hip points that we've been bringing attention to throughout the session, curl them up towards the belly, lift the bum up, push the bum towards the back of the knees, reach the arms up and back behind you. They may or may not touch the floor. Good. Maybe lift the chin slightly away from the chest. Now, if your legs are splaying out wide, just keep the inner legs awake. Bum, push up, push towards the back of the knees. Lower belly, draw it down. We're holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands down, bring the hips to the floor. Draw the knees into the chest. Just pull them in and just make circles with the knees. Clockwise or anti-clockwise, doesn't matter to me. Baby go both ways. And then just rock up to sitting. And then take the legs around 3/4 of the way straight out in front of you. So there's a bit of a bend in the knees. Flex the feet, so you're drawing your feet back towards your shins. Lift your waist up. Take your right hand outside your left knee. Left hand behind you. Lift the chest up. Turn the ribs and chest round to the left and even walk that back hand round a little bit more. You keep lifting up through the top of the head as you breathe in and maybe turn slightly more as you breathe out. Just a very easy, simple seated twist. Stay there, take another breath or two. That backhand is pressing into the floor to give you more of an upwards experience and length upwards of your spine. Good. Breathe out, come back. Relift up the waist. Left hand outside the right knee, right hand behind. Lift up as you breathe in. And then turn the ribs and chest round to the right as you breathe out. Again. That back hand is pressing into the floor. The lower back is in and up. You stay there, you take another moment, take another breath. Good. Breathe out, come back. Finish there. Hopefully you feel more easier now in the lower back, and that is absolutely something you can progress in a little and often way to try and mitigate and release that lower back stiffness for whatever reasons that you get it for. See you next week.